lots of features and configuration, as well as like managing the dependency system. Like if we want to create any enterprise application and using the Spring Boot framework, we can easily develop that application in quick time. We don't do much coding. We don't need to do lots of configuration manually. So it has predefined templates where we can use that templates. Few annotation it provides also. So it means using those annotations, what we can do, we can achieve some kind of features and functionality. So those annotation we will see in subsequent tutorial. But now what I will explain you here, like how do we configure the application using Spring Boot, the from scratch only. And talking about what are the modules involved in the Spring Boot and what are the features we have in Spring Boot. So let me explain you first. So Spring Boot has its own modules. And what are these modules? When we talk about modules, means Spring Boot framework is divided into some parts. Okay, let's say Spring provide some kind of functionality where we can easily connect to the database, and that functionality is called Spring JPA or Spring Data. That is one thing. Another thing, Spring also provides some feature where we can secure our APIs. Means nobody can call our API without like some kind of username or password, or maybe some kind of authorization token like JWT token. So those kind of mechanism also it provides. By using those features, we can save our secure our APIs, and it's a very important feature. Everywhere we will see security is major concern. Is it, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Yes, Alok.
Okay, so these two module I have explained you, but it is not like where Spring Boot only provide this kind of feature. So there are so many annotations and like kind of frameworks like Spring MVC itself, where you can create an API, right?
Yes.
And using this Spring MVC, we can create our endpoints. And these days, like REST framework is so much popular. Everywhere you will talk about microservice. Everywhere you will see the REST APIs. Everywhere you will see it. So Spring MVC itself, like it's a part of Spring Boot module, and using that we can create our APIs. Okay. So this is just starting in, I mean, just kind of introduction for Spring Boot. But as soon as we will start coding, I will explain you at the same time theory as well as the code. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's create some basic project from scratch, and then we will use this project itself for our training project. Okay, we will convert it into like little bit big project. Okay,
Sure.
so to create a project from the scratch, Spring Boot project, there is some way we can create project from scratch. Like we have an option like we can use the Spring initializer, or there is one another way we can using STS tool. So Spring Toolsuit also we can use it to create a project from scratch. Okay. So here today we are going to use this one, Spring initializer. Okay.
Mhm.
And how do we use it? Let me explain you. So you can see the URL start.spring.io. This is nothing but it's a Spring initializer website. On this website, you will see there are a couple of options you can see. Like first option is related to project. So what is this project? So project is just like we have to tell to Spring initializer what kind of metadata we are going to use for our project. So you all people guys knows like Gradle, Maven, all these things. What is this? These are the build tool, and to just build your project, we need this tools. Either you can use Maven or you can use Gradle, or it can be used. Someone can use Ant as well, but these just nobody use Ant. So here they have just provided Gradle and Maven option. So we are going to choose Maven, and how Maven works, that is also I will explain you. Then it asks us like which kind of language do you want. So simply we are going to use Java. We don't need Kotlin or Groovy. So we will use Java. Another thing, it will ask like Spring Boot has like there are different versions. So which version do we need? So we are using this one 2.7.6, which looks like stable version without snapshot.
Mhm.
3.00 is also a stable version, but why we are not choosing it? Because it only supports the Java 17 version. Okay, but since this training itself we are initially starting from Java 8, so I'm just choosing it 2.7.6. Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
now actually metadata, what it has, like we have to tell, the first is group is nothing but it's your initial package name. You have to tell what kind of package will be there. So I'm choosing, let's say this project we will create for like order management system, so I'll use it like com dot order. Okay,
Mhm.
and artifacts we can use it like order name is, it's also fine, and everything is look good, and we are choosing Java 8. Now right hand side if you see there is one section called dependencies. Okay,
Yes.
so why do we need this dependency? Because Spring Boot framework is a customized framework, and since we are using Maven or Gradle, so everything we have to add in the form of jar. If we need some kind of additional feature using Spring Boot, we have to tell Spring as well what kind of feature we want to use in the project. So let's say we wanted to create REST API. It means we can simply add Spring Web jar. So the description itself, it tells us like build web including RESTful application, Spring MVC, and uses the Apache Tomcat as the default embedded container. So initially what happened when Spring Boot was not available that time, what to do with when what happened with the developers, like they need to download the web application server. It means Tomcat they need to download, and after build this deployable either jar file or war file, they need to deploy it on Tomcat server. But these days Spring Boot itself, it has like its own embedded Tomcat, and this embedded Tomcat is come into this jar Spring Web. Okay,
Mhm.
is it clear?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now another thing, we are going to add this dependency which is called Lombok. So Lombok is nothing but, like usually when we create Pojo classes or entity class, we have to write setter and getters. You all knows about it, right? Setter and getters, or you don't know?
I don't know about.
Okay,
Yes,
Indra, do you know about setter and getters?
I know what they are, but I do not know
Hmm.
exactly how to use
Okay, let me explain you quickly what is setter and getters. Let's say we have one order class. So order class can contain what kind of things? Like it can contain. Now I'm going to write the properties. Yesterday we were learning the encapsulation, right? Where we
Yeah.
were discussing a class can encapsulate the property, multiple properties and method, correct?
Yes.
So now if we talk about order, so order has like what kind of property it can be hold? It can be hold order ID, first thing. Then other thing, what order can hold? Private. It can be like it
like
can
owner
hold
name,
sorry, yeah, go ahead, tell me.
name or ID already
uh,
covers that.
yeah, ID we have. So orders are
Okay.
related to order, we can have like item as well, right? So an order can contain multiple items, you know. So now this item itself is a class, let's say. Okay, or let me simplify it. Now I will not confuse you. Let's say it's an item class. and it is item ID. So now instead of item, we can keep this property like item name. Okay. Item name can be anything, mobile, laptop, device. Okay. And quantity. So quantity can be count in double, oh sorry, in integer. Order count, right? Item count, how much quantity you're ordering. And cost finally in double. So can one item can hold this kind of properties, correct? It has unique ID. It will have item name. It can have count also. Let's say if you're going to order on a website on Amazon, and then you find one item which is mobile, and it's possibly you can get those two mobile instead of one or three. So you have to tell them like how many quantity you're ordering, and then what is the cost of that, correct? So this is related to all this property we have. Now when inside the code, if we are going to use this item, so somewhere we have to set this property at the as well as we have to get that property, correct? Then only we can use the item class throughout the project. So if
Yes.
we are get yeah, so if we are getting this object from database, it means we are getting some records, we are setting up into this properties. So to setting up this property, we need setters method, correct?
Mhm.
And once you will be able to set this property, now the time is to show to user, or maybe on UI, or maybe on API response, we might require getters method to get those record, correct?
Mhm.
So that is called setter and getters. So for that we can use setter and getters. So if you see private, then there is methods called setter and getter. And if I'll create this class, let me quickly show you
Mhm.
one class. It's called name item, and let's say copy this all properties and put it inside it. And now we have all this property. Now if we wanted to access this object, how we can get it? So just right click on this class. What you can do, right click on this, go to in source. Now you can do one thing, generate getter and setters, right? This is an option you can see here. If you select all, then just create and generate, it will automatically create setter and getters for you. So why we call it setter and getters? Because it allow you to provide get method and as well as the set method. So set method means we are setting something, we are providing ID, it means we are setting the value, and same thing we are getting it. Now why do we need it? So I told you, if you are interacting with database and you have this property, so something you need to hold the data, correct? Like container, if you are wanted to take milk or something, you need some container to hold it, correct? Therefore you can, if you have glass and you want to put in water, you need that glass, correct?
Yes.
So same thing, to hold the data, it's a custom data, it can be anything. To hold the data which is exactly available in database, we need to hold in this class. So first we have to create a property, then after property we have to provide the option where we can set the data as well as the get the data. Same kind of container, you can simply put something in the container and you can get it by again from that container, right?
Yes.
Therefore we'll need setter and getters. Is it clear or any doubt so far?
No, no.
Okay, so now you will have that concept understood. Now you know about how, why do we need setter and getters and why we create it. But coming to this concept which I was talking about, the lombok, why we need this lombok? Because it provides some annotation and it can reduce the bipolar code. Now you can see so many setter and getters are there, correct? So many
Yeah.
methods are there. This is unnecessary. Let's say if you have like 100 properties in your file, then you have to write 100 200 times. 100 getter and 100 setters, it becomes 200.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a bipolar code, it's increasing the line of code. We can avoid that using Lombok annotations. And how do we do that? I will explain in the tutorial. Okay.
Okay.
Now coming to this database, since we are not installing any database for now, just we simply wanted to see some kind of logic and the concept itself. We will use the in-memory database for initially purpose. Okay. How do we save the data in memory database? How do we get the data? It will work same like in your MySQL and Oracle, but it will be in memory only. Okay. That is called S2 database. So in interview, most of the time they ask you like, if you wanted to do integration testing, how do you do that? Will you connect your actual database, or what exactly? You can tell them like, if it is integration testing, we can use simply S2 database. We don't need to connect actual database. We don't need to change the database and data also. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now coming to this dependency, what is this Spring Boot Dev Tools? It's simply whenever you make some changes in your application. So you see your server is also at the time of start at some time, and in the live server, if you wanted to make those changes, just click on Control S, and you wanted to gets deployed directly on the server using the Control S command. So this dependency will help us. We don't need to restart the server. Okay, it reload automatically the changes, whatever the changes you made in the code. We will see how it works. Okay, we are going to edit anyways. And initially I was talking about the modules. So I was talking about the modules like it provides different modules. So one of the module is Spring Data, and Spring Data is just for to connect with database, fire the queries, get the data from database using the JPA. JPA is the full form Java Persist API, and internally it uses the Hibernate concept. And if you are aware about, it has like HQL query, object oriented queries. So everything we will see in this tutorial. Okay,
Okay.
so far so good. Now
Yes.
Hello.
anyone yeah, go ahead.
Yes, hello. I'm good.
All right, so can we move forward?
Sure.
Okay, so I have filled all those details which is required with for our project as of now. What I'm going to do it, I'll create this one, generate. Okay, so once we'll click on this generate, it will generate in zip file. Okay, using some configuration, predefined configuration, and we will see it also. Let me generate the file. So you see here our project has created with the name of order. Okay,
Mhm.
let me unzip it. And please stop me if you think like my pace is fast, or I'm going very fast, or I'm not stopping somewhere, I'm not taking pause. Let me know. Okay,
Look, I have one question.
yes, please tell me.
How is the external database is connecting to that Java program?
Yes, so how do we connect with external database? So there are some certain properties, like application.property we do have in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
project. So let me
Mhm.
unzip this. I'll explain you. We will also connect with external database in this training, so you
Yes.
will understand. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So for coming to this part, like we download it and unzip this folder order. This is our project. Now, how can
Oh,
we? Yeah,
okay, I
tell
have
me.
a quick. How do we unzip it? I mean, I don't have anything installed in my system, and I don't see any option to unzip.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it only shows me archive utility, which is a default one in my Mac.
So you have Mac, okay? I'm
Yeah.
using Window.
Okay.
So in Mac also you can download from some Play Store. So I mean you have Mac Store, right? iOS something,
So
some kind
what
of
do I need
utility.
to?
Hmm? Sorry?
It's a 7-zip I need to download, right?
Yeah, you can download 7-zip. And 7-zip simply you can extract. We have to extract it.
Okay.
So here in order, now how to get this project in Eclipse or IntelliJ, anything is fine. You can use anything, whatever you know. it's up to you. So here in this training, I am using the Eclipse, and I'll show you how to do that in Eclipse. So whenever you unzip this folder, what you have to do, you have to just search for this file, pom.xml. Very important for us, for being as a developer.
Yeah.
You need to just copy this path where this file is located. Okay. Copy that path from here. Now go back to your Eclipse, and what you need to do, go to the file. In file, you will see this option import. Just click on it. Whenever you click on it, if you don't see this existing Maven, just type here in this dialog box Maven. What you need to type? Maven. Once you type the Maven, so Maven has these kind of options. You need to choose existing Maven project. You have to click on it. Then the path we have copied, we have to paste here and just click on browser. It will automatically identify the POM on that path. Okay. And now you just need to use finish. So as soon as you press on finish, in here you will see it is importing the Maven project. You see, and here menu side you see this project also has come, right? So now we are good to go. We have, let me cancel it, don't save. So this project we have just recently downloaded. Now what you do, whenever you do this first step, you just click on this file. You need to find this file. This is the root of your application. And why it is root, I'll explain you. You see this annotation Spring Boot application @ Spring Boot application. You see here. The name is itself suggested boot. Boot means the entry point, booting. Okay, boot of the application. It means everything. Whenever you start application, you have to start from here. First thing, it has main method. You can just simply right click on here, go to the run, click on Java application, run as Java application. As soon as just you click on here, you will see the Spring project will start here, and the logs you can see on the console. And it has started successfully on port 8080. And you see Tomcat has started by we didn't download anything. We didn't download Tomcat, but internally it has started because we had used this jar. The name of this jar is Spring Web. If someone can ask you how it comes along with the Spring Tomcat, you need to tell them we have a Spring Web dependency. It allows us to provide REST API features as well as it has inbuilt Tomcat also. Okay. So far so good.
Yes, sir.
We have successfully created one project. We have started also. Now I'll show you. Let me stop the server, and now I will explain you the actual real world project flow, how it comes in the project and what is the flow it is. So if you see in the real world project, everywhere you will find one common thing. The project structure I'm explaining you. First you will see the model classes. Okay. It can be identified with different name also. Some people say it entity. Okay. Some say it's DB object, and some say DO, VO. So not VO, DTO or DO. So name can be anything. It's depend on their naming convention. But what this folder contain? It contains Pojo classes. Okay, Pojo classes which talk to database or hold the data for DB tables. I will explain in the coding. Okay, don't worry about this theory. Another thing, we will have a repository. Some company tell this like DAO DAO. So did you guys ever seen in your project like repository or DAO or something?
repository. That's
Yes. What exactly it is? It is it is called data access object. It is so if you see here, data access object means it name suggested like these classes will be responsible to direct communicate with your database using this Pojo classes which we have. So this Pojo classes just store the data. It will just hold the data. Let me remove this talk one, which yeah, now this is perfect. Now you have, let's say you have one person who can talk to database, but how it can talk? He will talk to directly database. He says, "Oh, which table do you have?" Database will tell, "I have this order table." Then this this person will say, "Okay, I have this person who can hold your order data." So he will provide this Pojo class. Who? This repository class. Are you getting my point? No. This class will have logic or method to get, update, create, or delete data in the DB. So this class will be responsible to provide you the CRUD operation. You know about CRUD operation? If you don't know, I can explain you.
Is it that one create, read, update,
Create,
delete?
update, delete. Exactly. That is only CRUD. It means you have a features which calls like you can create the data inside the database. You can read, you can read the data from the database. You can update, you can delete the data. Okay,
Yeah.
but how do you do that? Using the DAO classes, and DAO classes, how it help us, we will see in our code only today only. Okay,
Okay.
again another thing is we will have service layer.
is it DAO classes and DTO classes both are same or different?
Hello, yes, Vinod.
Are you saying something?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, just now I can hear you.
Is it DTO class and DAO class, is it same or different?
No, no. See, DTO is a very different terminology. You're talking about DTO, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
This is called data traverse object. Data traverse object.
Okay.
That is different thing. Let's say you have a UI. Okay, you have a UI. You have a request. This is something called request object. They are providing some kind of request. This DTO object will be converted into your model classes or maybe something else, which will be, so DTO can have multiple fields, which is not actually required for your tables, but it has some kind of more additional fields which is required for your service layer, maybe to manipulate some data, which is
Okay.
exactly coming from the data from the UI side.
Sure, Vinod. Can you send this to Rise, the update?
Yeah. So DAO is a different thing, Josna. So DAO, as I said, it will allow us to provide CRUD operation, CRUD functionality. All repository classes, we call it as a DAO classes. Okay,
Okay.
they are not different. They are same. DAO class is same. Repository class are same. Okay,
Okay.
but the DTO is itself is a different thing. It will interact with your UI, or maybe it can be treated as a request object, which coming from the client, or maybe browser, or maybe some API call. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
okay. Now coming to the service part, why service is required and why do we need this layer? So service is nothing but this service classes have some business logic where we write the business logic. Can you tell someone what this line means to be? Why? What is the meaning of this particular sentence? Anyone understand?
It tells about the process of that business, how it goes, like
Hmm. But this line itself, what does it mean? If I say these classes have business logic on top of CRUD,
mm,
no idea.
so we can retrieve the data, we can create, read, update, and delete all those things in service layer. Yeah, we can use it in the controllers, these services.
Okay, let me explain you just now quickly. Indra, do you understand or not? First, do you understand this CRUD? Have you understood this one CRUD?
No,
Why we
but
are
isn't
talking
it,
about the CRUD?
yeah, but isn't service layer basically like with model, view, and controller kind of thing, where you get the
Hmm.
request and you?
See, first, do you understand this CRUD? What is this CRUD?
No, I do not understand it now. Like
So
I don't
if
know
you don't,
how
yeah,
they use
yeah,
it on
okay. If
businesses.
okay, if you don't understand this part, CRUD, then you don't understand anything. Let's say you see this Excel sheet. Can you see this Excel sheet?
Yes,
Mhm.
Now you see here there is one column date, then you have hours, then you have WBS, then you have note. These four columns we have, right? And each column have their different entries. Each columns have their different rows. So we have these columns and we have this much rows. So let's say this is the database table. Okay. There is one table for timesheet or something. We have date field, hours, WBS code, or note. Okay. Now, and we have different set of records. This is first record from here to here. Then this is second record. This is third record. This is fourth record. This is the fifth record. So when we talk about data access object, which is means of DAO classes, it means we will talk to database, we will access database, we will update, manipulate, or read the database. So let's say this is the table. Now through your program, you want to add one more row here. You want to add one more row here. Now I want to add record for 30th June. So this operation, this operation will call create operation, correct? In terms of program. So this CRUD is nothing but you see is denote for create. Is it clear or not?
yes,
Then once you have successfully created, now I wanted to read some data from this table. Let's say I wanted to get the records, this fourth row, or maybe I wanted to get the all records. It means I wanted to read that data from this table. That is this call R read. Okay. Again, if in this table I wanted to update this fifth row, let's say instead of this code, I wanted to make different code, like let's say 3 2. So I wanted to make the changes in this existing record. I'm saying again existing record. It means we are updating the records through the program. That is called U in the CRUD. Now, if I don't want this sixth row, I just simply wanted to delete it. Then through this data access, we have access this D. So that is called CRUD operation. In the database, we will have table, and the table how we are manipulating through this data access object, and therefore we call it is a CRUD operation because it allow us to create data into the table, read the data from the table, update the data from the table, and delete the data from the table. I hope now this is clear. Again, if it is not clear, please let me know.
I got it now. Thank you.
Okay. Now CRUD operation is clear to us, but we were talking about the service layer. In the service layer, you will see we were talking about the business logic on top of CRUD. So CRUD functionality is very simple. You can simply create records, simply read the records and update the records and delete the record. But there are certain ways, certain points, or certain uh, like some cases where only that condition, when condition fulfill or meet, then only you allow user to create the data, or you will allow user to delete the data, or you wanted to get the data from database or update the database. So those conditions are what? Those conditions are only your business logic of your application, and where we can restrict to user, where we can allow to user, that kind of logical part we will write in the service layer. That is, we call all business logic we write in the service logic on top of CRUD. Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Any use case I can tell you. Let's say, Josna, you have an automobile project, correct?
Yes, sir.
So in automobile project, let's say they have a website. They wanted to get all this kind of vehicle details whose model or make year in 2012. Okay.
Hmm.
It means they wanted to get those records from database. They need to fire an query. They need to open this filter criteria, which make year or model number is to 2012. Then only filter out the record from database. Correct?
Yeah, it's such criteria.
Exactly. So those such queries you can write in here read operation. Correct. But on top of it, you also need to apply something else. Like you don't want to get those vehicle details where it has some kind of involved in criminal activities or something. Okay. So those additional things you can put it into your service logic part. Don't show those results to user. Don't send it back to those results. That just I'm just giving you one kind of use case. It can be anything as per the company requirement. And you only allow user to create a fresh entry for a result or record whose model is, let's say its model is only in 2022. Okay. So we can apply the if condition here. If in request object we will check rec dot get vehicle or something, vehicle make year equal to 2022, then only allow user to create new entry into database. So this kind of logic we usually we write in service layer. Is it clear or not? Please
Yes,
tell
sir.
me. If you don't understand, I can explain it again.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
So we are good to go now. Let's move forward. Service layer we covered. Now another thing we will have controller classes. Okay. Why do we call it controller? Because it controls, it handles the browser requests, and it displays the result again back to the client. Therefore, we call it controller. Okay. So let's jump into the code and I'll explain the theory part here only itself. Okay. We have this project. Let me create first model package. As I told you, we will have the model class. So what I have done here, let me explain you. First, you remember I showed you the getter and setters, correct? So instead of writing those getter and setters, I have just used the annotation. It works same like those. So it will generate the getter setter for these two property. Okay.
Okay.
This is all argument constructor or no argument constructor, same like which we generated like this. Let me show you quickly. How do we write the constructor? You go in source, just create on constructor using the fields. Select these fields. So you see here we have a constructor now. This is completely equivalent to this one. And see this is the error it's showing because we cannot keep both things together. I need to comment this one, only it will allow me. See, the error has gone, or I can keep this one, then I have to remove this one. Okay.
Mhm.
So this is just simply normal core Java concept. I think you will learn more in Java training with Mayank. But let's focus here on these two annotation. Why we are using this two annotation? First, we have used @entity, which comes from the Java persistence entity. Entity means we are telling Spring that this class will map to the table, and the table name we have this another annotation. The table name we are going to use this one, st order. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this class will map with this table, and this table will automatically created inside the database using this annotation. Now this table, this class have two fields, order ID and order type. So we know in table we always have a primary key in our relational database. So that is why we are using here ID annotation. Okay. And in table itself, the ID generates automatically Therefore, we have to tell to Spring the what kind of generated type, auto increment, identity, or what exactly. Usually we use identity. Okay, it maintains by the database table only. It's clear now?
Yes, sir.
Or any doubt you have, guys?
Oh, yes.
All right. So we have successfully created the order entity. Now coming to our second step. So first step we have covered. Let me go back to the notepad again. So this step we have covered for now. Okay. Now we will cover this step, repository DAO classes. So let me create another class and the package itself for order repository. It will go in DAO classes. Okay. You can call this a repo as well. Anything is fine. Order repository. But it will not be a class. It will be an interface. Let me change it again. So you need to remember one thing. Whenever you are going to create any repository class in Spring Boot, you always need to choose an interface. Okay. Why do we need interface? Let me explain you again. So let's first give the name order repository. It will go inside the DAO package. And then if you see here, we have interface. Now we need to enable it as a repository. We have to use an annotation, repository annotation. Okay. Then, sorry.
Nothing else. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Then we have to extend an annotation, another interface, which is called JPA repository, and it will take two arguments for which class we are going to create repository. So we are creating for order entity, right? So we have to tell, and this order entity has what kind of ID. So if you open, we have long type ID, correct? This one we have to give here in the ID parameter. Clear?
No.
Now I will now I will tell you how it's simple is this string, and you will see the magic here. I will just create one controller class. I will bypass the service layer. We will see it later when we will have some business logic. Okay. I will simply now going to create a controller class because I quickly wanted to show you. So we will call it order repository, order controller. So you all guys, if you knows or not, if you wanted to create a controller class, you have to use this annotation at the rest controller. Then you can create mapping itself. Let me create a mapping and I will give it v1. Anything is fine. Then we have to auto wire our DAO class, which is order repository. And why do we need this auto wiring? You have you ever heard about like in dependency injection, auto wiring? You know about it? Have you heard it or not?
I heard it, but like I said, I don't know. I have not seen it
See,
in project itself.
okay. Usually when you want to create or access anything in the Spring, what you need to do it, you need to create his injection using either setter or using the auto wire. Since these classes are as a bin, these classes are we are treating as a DAO or service or component. You always need to auto wire it. So there are three ways to auto wire: constructor based injection, auto wired based, or another is setter based. Here we are going to use auto wire based. Clear? or not?
So Alok, what does the request mapping does? Like what is the point of having that?
Okay. Let me create this code, Indra. Then I will explain you what this
Okay.
request mapping does actually. So if you see somewhere in path in URL any website, you see here www.google.com dot and then slash v1 slash API slash something you call it URL, correct? So this URL path is uniquely identified for that controller. So this is your general domain. Okay, this is your general domain. But under the v1, you can have like multiple version of your APIs, v1, v2, v3, which can some v1 API can connect with your some few users. Maybe they are mobile user. V2 API maybe for web application, and maybe like if you're introducing v3 version, so it has like more features. So in banking itself, if you open some website, you see here this says like this new website, it doesn't support the Chrome or Edge, Microsoft Edge, but you can switch to your old API version. Have you ever seen this kind of scenarios?
Yes, I got it now.
Yeah, so therefore they maintain their versioning, and this is just for your URL purpose of address. We are addressing this controller using this v1. Okay, and again, for each method we will have different mapping as well. Let me show you how. So let's say we are going to create one, since we are going to create CRUD operation initially. So what we will do, let me create one create order request. So I have to use this one order, then I will use create order. Here this method will take one argument. And how do we take the argument? We have to use the request body. If you are getting some object as an object from client, we need to use request body. And what kind of object we are going to take? This order object only. Okay, so let me take this order, and then simply we will call this repository to just save our record. I will return that same object from here also, whatever we are going to save it, and then this will give here, we will save this object only and return it from here. But for that we have to identify, we have to tell Spring which kind of method is this. See, create means we are creating method. So in the REST API we will have 4 endpoints, 4 kind of methods, 5 methods: post, put, get, delete. For create we always go for post request. Okay, now I will give here mapping would be like this: create. Okay, create order. Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
And let me create another mapping which is called get mapping, which will return all orders, everything, whatever we are going to create, get orders. And it doesn't have any request parameter because it will just simply return our all orders which is available inside the database. Let me show you how. We have to call this find all method, simply add here, and then we have to see this will this can return multiple orders. It means we cannot simply return the order, we have to return the list of order, right? So let me change the return type, list of order. So it's clear now, it will return the list of orders. All right,
Mhm.
let's start this application by taking by god name, and we'll see how it works. So we have successfully started our server. Okay. Now quickly I'll show you. This port is started from 8080 port, correct?
Mhm.
Where it started, 8080 port. And do you guys know how do we debug the code as well or not? Yes, no?
Yes, sir. You
Okay,
can use
sure. So first we'll create our object now. So now Indra, you were asking what is V1, correct?
Yes.
Now your doubt will clear. So I map this particular controller as a V1. See here, V1 here we have. And what is this localhost? Because this project we are running on our local machine. Therefore, we are calling it as a HTTP localhost colon. This what is this port? So Spring Boot application is started usually on 8080 port. You see here this port number.
Mhm.
You see here this port number. Yes, no.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Then afterward, this URL will append from V1. V1 why? Because we will have this endpoint request mapping. Therefore, it is appending as a V1. Secondly, we are going to call to create our order. We have to copy this again, this mapping. I will copy here, and you see here, sorry. You see here, I am using request body because we are expecting someone will provide information about the order. So what is the information in order? We have only two options, order ID, order type, but we don't need to provide this order ID. Why? Because it will be generated by the system only. Therefore, we are using this generated annotation, correct? So we just need to provide this information, order type. Now this will be passing as a payload. Payload means from the body. So if you wanted to pass anything from body inside the postman, you need to choose these options. First you have to click on raw. Then you need to take this option as a JSON. Then you need to provide this curly braces. Inside the curly braces, you need to take the property name inside the double quotes. And I will give you the order type is bulk. Okay. And I will place this order. Let's see how it works. So see, my order got placed successfully. It is returning me the ID, order ID, and it is providing me the status also, bulk order. Let me put another order, and this time we will put loose. Okay, order type, and see. So see, second order also got created loose. Let me create another order. We'll call it business. Okay, order type is business. Let's create it. We have created third order as well. Now I wanted to fetch all these records, whatever the order I have created so far. How I can get it? I need to call our second endpoint, which is get endpoints. What is the name of that get endpoint? You can copy from here, from where we will have this controller. You will copy this get order since it has all the information because you're using the find all method. Let me copy it, paste it, call it. It will provide me the all information. You see here, so far we have created this orders. Clear?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Very simple and very fast.
Yes.
So I think this much is enough for today. I believe if I'll go very deep, then it will confuse to you guys. So I believe you just see again this recording, again just go through it, this code. I will upload this code on GitHub. I will give you the access for that particular repository. Then you can take this code from there, and then probably you can create your separate branch and start coding on it, whatever you wanted to. You can create pull request. I can review it.
Sure, Abhi. Yep.
I think Harika, I think you are busy, I believe so. I don't know you are focusing or not. Maybe you can refer this training later, the recording part. Or maybe she has dropped out. Oh, she's dropped. So, all right, Jyotsna and Indra, I believe this training will help you to understand the flow.
Yeah, it
Yes,
is
sir.
helping. So like because I haven't been in the business logic yet. So like is this provided with a business or like to like like to get and post, like for example to like create all this? Is there a website for this, or can I learn it through, what I'm trying to say, like where can I get this to check? Or is it already there when I download the files?
Yeah, it will be already there. We will provide you the access for that, Indra.
Okay. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So you do you have the account on GitHub?
No, I do not.
So you need to create a GitHub account. I will share the link for YouTube. How do we create it? It's very simple.
Okay.
Yeah, Josna, you can stop the recording meanwhile. I think we have ended this session already. Just discussing it now. Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Okay. So I'll download that if you send me a link. And where can I see the recording? Like, where will I have this recording?
1 minute, 1 minute. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. You were asking something.
So where will I find all these recordings? Like, do I need to go to a specific place or?
Yeah, I mean, Rashmi will share with you. Every day we are recording this. So I think last 2 sessions, did I share with you or not? Those recording?
No, I haven't got it now.
So yeah,
No.
so I will share those 2 recordings with you, both of you. And this third recording will be available tomorrow because it takes some time to store on cloud. Or next
Okay.
time, what you can do, Indra, you can directly store on your computer as well. We will provide you the access. Just how Josna today, she's downloading it from her machine only.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And
Okay.
yeah, this 3 recording I will provide you, and 2 recording we already have for first 2 sessions, and third session it will come tomorrow. I will share with you tomorrow those recording. But tomorrow or maybe Sunday, Mayank will take another session. So you guys will be available or not on tomorrow? Or not tomorrow, Sunday, I think. Or you
Yeah.
guys need this session from Monday only?
No, I'm good on Sundays. I don't mind.
So I'll check with other folks as well. If they are available, then we can schedule this training on Sunday, or maybe
So
we can continue.
are we
Yeah,
are we gonna be more focused on like this, like the spring root part, or are we gonna start from beginning with the other with Mike? Is it just for today?
we just started today only, spring session, Indra.
Okay, so are we gonna do like 1 day spring session and Java, or are we gonna do Java first then spring session? No.
See, this guy was not available. Anyways, this
Oh,
course is included in this training, is the part of training. So what I
oh,
thought,
okay.
like I can at least initiate this Spring Boot session. So at least you will
Okay.
have some heads up prior, like how you can relate core Java topics to this Spring as well. So I gave you this understanding as of now. So once he will finish this Java, maybe I can take it from there, or maybe like weekend I can cover the Spring topics. It's up to you because we have only one month, so probably
Yeah.
we can cover most of the things in a month
Yeah,
if
maybe
you're
we
going
can
that
do
way.
like, yeah, I feel like like we could do week or whatever works for you. I'm fine with it.
Okay, then mostly I'll cover a few sessions on weekend for Spring Boot microservices probably,
Yeah.
and side by side Mike will also train you on Java, and he will also
Yeah.
give you some understanding of the Spring Boot. Okay.
Yeah, because I understand what you're saying right now and to create everything, but I just don't know how it starts, like I don't understand just the beginning part, just like how it actually begins. Like
Okay.
I get how you do all this responsibility, like calling stuff like that, creating classes and object like that, but like what I don't understand is the concept, the beginning concept, like how we what like like what comes to you, then you write this code, you know what I mean? What like do you write this when you pick up an like story from a like so you pick up a story then you start doing this, or like
No, so this is something we have taken the example for training, right? The order
okay.
management system, we have just taken the example. So, but
Hmm.
in the real world also, you will have same kind of project because I've started very basic, not I mean basic entity. Because if
Okay.
I'll take